What's up, everyone? This is probably one of my last total videos about Crawford versus Canelo because it's over, it's behind us. People are still talking about it. I apply, like, when I study fighters, like the stats and everything, like to the stock market. I'll talk a little bit about that coming up. Smart money never chases, like Crawford. Just invest like Crawford. That's what I'm saying. The way Crawford, like, I knew before the fight, when I really did all the analysis and grabbed all the way they fight and all the stats and everything, psychologically envisioned everything, didn't rush into this. I really took my time breaking this fight down over time with several videos because I was so convinced, and I knew he was going to win in the way that he did, in a spectacular fashion. And I knew the Vegas odds makers definitely had this one wrong. I thought it was kind of wild. So anyway, it's all fun because it's a sport. But a lot of people, they just tear me apart. You know how I don't know boxing. I've heard this, by the way. I've heard this a million times in other videos where I made predictions. For the most part, mostly right. And then before the fight, you hear these, you don't know boxing, you're casual. They just land on a video. They probably just think I'm some guy that just never did this before, but I've been doing it forever. But anyway, yeah, so a lot of people I hear from comments in my comments, I finally read that some people are making excuses like they said I would do after Canelo knocked out Crawford, which was preposterous from the beginning on its own. Some people were saying, now they're saying it's trying to justify how Canelo won, or somehow it was close. It wasn't close. It was what everyone knows. If you're a true boxing fan and you're honest, and you see the way Canelo lost that fight, you could just clearly see it was, I'm not disrespecting Canelo, really good fighter. You can't take that, you can't discredit him, a really good fighter. But he was outclassed, let's be real. And it wasn't the first time where this happened. So if you go back to the pattern of what he did with Crawford type fighters, it started with Floyd. So you want to market Canelo after seeing what happened with Floyd, which I knew on this channel. I broke that down accurately, and I said it would look like a sparring session, which it did for Floyd. If you knew how to market him right, and you're in this business, it's a business. You sell Canelo as a product, and you push him into fights away from that Floyd style. And anytime he fought any type of boxer, he had problems and he would lose. And the GGG fight, I thought he was outboxed in the first fight, or he was beaten. You could say it was close, but it was still a loss. But it was credited as a draw, right? If I'm not mistaken. And that's because Golovkin won so big in that first fight where they had to give it a draw. They had to, which says a lot. And Canelo had to be beaten so badly for Crawford. He had to be so outclassed, outboxed on the world stage before everybody, for it not to have one judge try to flip it, which was surprising to me. I was a little iffy on the judges, but he looked so good and he dominated so well that even it was still some judges had it a little too close. If you go with the Netflix scorecard, that was pretty much what we're really seeing. It's a business, and they tried to promote Canelo, which they did. They did it well, and they made a lot of money, a lot of views, actually. For Netflix, a lot of subscribers probably jumped on and watched the fight, I would imagine. It's a business, so you have to sell this product. They sold it like Canelo was like some undefeated pound-for-pound legend. And, he was fighting the actual pound-for-pound undefeated legend that was going to jump 2-3 weight classes and still get the job done. Anybody trying to say that Crawford's lost this fight, if anyone out there is really saying that, they're high. It's just ridiculous. Nobody's gonna buy into this. So anyway, I knew the odds were wrong. I gotta be honest. I bet $1 million on the fight. Just joking. I would never. But if you made money, someone on this channel, again, I hope, congratulations. Someone in the comments said they're going to bet 12 grand on Crawford to win. I wonder if they really did, via decision, which was really good. Okay, so the way I look at all this stuff, I have receipts somewhere else on another channel, but I was telling people, just no emotions like with this fight, no emotion. I was studying Tesla, and I was like, Tesla, on the big giant dip. I even got some, I think, at 170. I was like, this is a time to get Tesla stock. And today it's over double. I think it's at 417 before I came on here. But I was telling people, put your emotions aside, put your politics aside. Most people are carrying exposed to 401 in their 401ks. Big politicians on all sides. They have Tesla. They're exposed to it. And there's people telling you not to buy it, trying to drop it, and all these shenanigans going on. But I said, this stock is going to fly. Watch. And it did. And guess what? I sold some. Yes, I did. I sold some the other day, finally, after holding it. I have it for years. And I sold some, you know. And with that dry powder, I'm just going to hold it. But yeah, so I look at the stock market like I look at certain fighters. This is crazy. I know it's crazy. This is how my mind works. So I look at the fighters, and I don't like I was thinking to myself, Crawford is like a prime ETF. If you know what that is, it's a bunch of stocks that are together, and they track, like SPY, they track the stock market. So I'm like, if I'm gonna have my two fighters here, Canelo and Crawford, I'm looking at Crawford like a prime ETF, amazing, performing. He's already won. He's done everything right. He's invested right. It's always going up like a VOO ETF or a SPY ETF. Over time, there's zigzags, but it's always going up. And I'm looking at Canelo like something more, you know, not stable. I'm looking at Canelo like, okay, it's up. It really has downs, ups, downs, where it's iffy. So I'm not looking at him like a blue chip fighter. So I'm like, okay, now I'm looking at all the stats, what they've done, their age, everything, and I'm gathering all this intel. I'm like, okay, Crawford is the guy I'm investing in. I am not chasing hype like the fans, the Vegas odds, all hype, like a big hype in a new let's SPAC stock or something like, oh, this is going to be big. It has to do with computer chips. I'm just making it up, you know. It's been around, but it's up and down, you know, it's very volatile. Canelo's more volatile, and you have the solid. I mean, he is effing solid. Crawford is effing solid bet. Like, you just know this man, if you're me and someone like, and there's other people out there like me, you just knew that Crawford was going to go in there and whoop that ass. He's just going to win the fight no matter what. It just didn't make sense to me as I visualized the fight. And I looked at all the stats. I said, just no way that this is going to happen. Like, I get it, some of you with the weight, because early on when the fight was made, I was like, well, Crawford's, oh, I don't know, that's a lot of weight. Oh, he'll probably lose. But then I got all the analytics together, and I watched all the videos. Like, I study like a strategy and a stock in the past to see what it does. So I got all the numbers together, I crunched them, and then I looked, and then the way my mind works, I'm like, oh, I see purple. Amazing color. I love purple. Purple. Purple is Crawford. I'm like, this guy's amazing. That's my favorite color. Canelo is exciting too, and it's up and down, and that's like a bright green. I tend to identify things with colors sometimes when I'm editing too. I'll see colors, but that's another story. So I love purple, the color purple, and I'm just like, purple rain. Crawford's gonna just dominate this fight. He's amazing. I guess that is my favorite color too. Purple is just my favorite color. I always wanted a brand new colored purple Porsche, and certainly I'm probably, yes, I could afford one, but I would never get one. I'd rather drive an old car and keep investments. Yeah, this is a flex culture, the flex life. That's not me. I don't do any of that. But I'm just saying, this man put on such a great, I gotta watch the fight again too. You have to appreciate what you're witnessing, because Canelo is a really good fighter, and you don't go in there and just look like that against the Canelo, even at this stage of the game, because like we talked about this, a lot of people were saying Canelo is not the same as what he was, but he's fighting an older guy by arguably just about 3 years. So you can't use that excuse. So you had two guys in the same age range. One is older, and I think if they would have fought years ago, it would have been the same outcome, obviously. Yeah, totally. Again, I look at the Bivol fight. I look at the Golovkin fight. I looked at Laura. I looked at a lot of these boxers, and I looked at especially the beginning when I knew it was going to happen. I looked at what Floyd did. What Floyd did was important. A lot of people will say, oh, but Crawford's not Floyd. But no, but here's where they're the same. Psychologically, athletically, mentally, psychologically is important with boxing. Physically, the gifts, the rarefied air fighter that he is, he would fight, he would always turn on a dime and turn the fight around and always find a way to win. That's Crawford and that's Floyd. There's only certain eras of boxing where you have these fighters that come through and they just dominate, they beat, they're just the best, they're the best, like one of the best stocks, they're always performing and they just don't really lose at all. And it's hard for them, you'd be hard pressed to find even rounds where they lost. So only a fighter like that, like I was saying before the fight, a big good man historically would always be the good little man in a fight. And I was telling you guys, the big good man's Canelo, but the great fighter, the one that doesn't lose, the one that's blue chip, golden, the best, the pound for pound will win. They will find a way to win. They can jump weights and do spectacular, amazing things. And the fact that Canelo doesn't hardly throw jabs is shocking. I mean, he's not Roy Jones in his prime. You cannot get away. Only a fighter like Roy Jones Jr. can get away without throwing a jab and win fights. This is I knew early. He's going to lose this fight in the second round. I already knew it was going the way that I predicted, and I knew there was no chance. Like in my predictions, I was saying the commentators are going to just hold on to that. Oh, but he can get knocked out, and you got to present some drama and danger to the audience. You don't want to lose your viewership and make it sound like a boring fight, But I'm watching a fight and I'm saying, this is what I'm saying. My commentary is like, he doesn't stand a chance. He's never going to knock out Crawford. I mean, that's what I'm saying. After the fourth round, never going to happen. Crawford is just not going to be knocked out. I mean, you're lucky, and if you look at his past fights, if he's even wobbled one time a little bit with Gamboa, he's just dominating. It takes brains. It's more than power. The guy's boxing IQ's off the charts higher. He sees things before they happen, and he's multi-talented in the ring, so gifted, and it was just never going to happen where Canelo Alvarez was going to beat a Crawford. It's just not on this planet. It's not going to, they could fight 100 times. It's not going to happen. The only way that would happen if you had a 35-year-old Canelo fighting a 40-year-old or a 41-year-old Crawford, because age and time obviously destroys all. It just diminishes everybody, all of us. So enjoy Crawford for what it was. It was just, you watched one of the greatest fighters you'll ever see in real time. If you watch that fight live, that's walking around now in this era in boxing. You watched the truth. You watched one of the all-time greats. You watched it. And I'm telling you, fighters like this are rare. Sometimes we can be disillusioned because the way they sell these fights, the way they market them, it's all about money. That people got to make livelihood. So they did a great job. They always did a great job marketing Canelo, because they had people gassed. They had people gassed in the comments where people were telling me that Canelo was going to drop him and knock him out. I'm looking at live streams. I turned it on, I think the day before the fight. I was watching the weigh-in or something with the comments going. People really thought, they bought into this BS, this package deal, that Canelo was some type of boxing god and prodigy, and he was going to just take out Crawford. I mean, forget the win. Take him out, knock him out. I was like, what is going on? It's sales. It's marketing. You know how to market a fight. What they're not going to tell you on TV is this stuff. And they're also not going to make a big deal about an age. If you got a big fight coming up, they're not going to highlight that the fighters are middle-aged, basically, on paper. Like, if you look at when middle age starts, it's at 35. They're not going to say that. But see, this was more fair because they were both, like I said, in the same age range. But top peak level performance. Crawford performed amazing. He's turning, in like 2 weeks or something, 38, which is wild. In boxing, that's ancient. Again, you look at Canelo's record, it's really big. It was just a great fight. I just felt, this could have went the other way, obviously, but I didn't believe that was going to happen. I would have been here saying the same thing. Wow, I was wrong. It happens. But for the most part, it was really an easy call, and it wasn't an upset to me. It never was an upset. The Vegas odds, the hype, they were going off the hype. Vegas gets it wrong, and they do once in a while. And I mean, it was the weight thing that really got people, but they were ignoring what Crawford has done. I don't even get what people are talking about. Oh, he never fought anyone that good. I mean, look at Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence was dangerous, and Crawford outclassed him on so many levels. So many levels. All right, you got to win. What I would do if I was Crawford right now, I know it's so easy for him to take another fight, make a couple million off of someone he's someone you never heard of really, and he's going to make a lot of money. I would retire because it is dangerous boxing, and you do take head blows, and you don't know how they're going to affect someone at 38. Because his next fight he'd be 38. He should retire. He should be hired as a commentator. He should be in the fight game. He deserves it. He should be, he should be definitely at ringside. He should be like an analyst. I don't know what he wants to do, but yeah, that's what should be happening. He should definitely. He's just got it. It just happened, and that's it. It was a great career for him, and wow, it was really good to see. And Canelo, like I said, you can't discredit him. He was a really, really good fighter, and they did a lot with him. They marketed him right, and they made a hell of a lot of money. And they did a lot with him, and there can't be any regrets there. Canelo seems like a really good dude, but unfortunately for him and his fans, Crawford, a much smaller Crawford at almost 38, is just way better, levels above, in another stratosphere. I'm sorry, it's just true. These are just facts. That's why he did what he did. That's why he went up in weight. Canelo had all the advantages they were saying. What happened to those advantages? Dude doesn't throw jabs. Again, how are you going to be the all-time great without throwing jabs? Mind-boggling. The guy isn't Roy Jones Jr. I mean, come on. What did you think? They gassed you up. They sold you Canelo was going to do like Mike Tyson and just touch Crawford. Crawford was going to break and just get knocked out like Kid Chocolate versus Jacobs in round one. What are you kidding? I was saying this before the fight. What are you kidding? What are these? I'm like, what are these people watching? Like when I'm watching a really good stock go down, I'm like, it's time to buy it. Oh my God, it is so obvious to me that this stock Tesla is gonna just be so much more money. And then I was saying that to people. I made videos about it on another channel, and then I turned on the TV one day, and what's the guy named he started Fubu from Shark Tank, Damon. Anyway, I forget his name right now. He said, you want a good deal? Buy Tesla right now. And it was down big like in March. He said it because this guy is smart. He knows what the hell he's talking about. He's on Shark Tank, and he's a self-made multi-millionaire. And he started Fubu clothing line. I mean, I knew that. I mean, I seen that, and I capitalized off it. I think I want to go to Rome with some of that money. That's what I think I'm going to do next. Anyway, I'm out.